I recall we had a 12th level magic user.
Wait,
with us, and we
12th
asked him
level?
for a spell or something. Blast him, we yelled as we ran. Fireball him! Get those little fucks! What, in these now?
Wait. They're throwing, like, flammable oil. Use fireball is probably the worst advice you can give them. It's what the sorcerer wizard was going to do anyways, but it's the worst advice you can give them. Good morning, everyone. We're going to be jumping back into some more, I guess I can't call them shorts, videos, and we're going into Crod. We're starting with the Legend of Crod, the orc who intimidated Wood from ZacSpeaksGiant. I mentioned them a few times while we were watching their shorts. I think this is hopefully going to explain this way more to me than those shorts gave me. Because I remember bits and pieces of this, but let's hop into it and see what it's like.
This was a wrap-up for a module we were playing, but I had fun the whole way. I played Crod, the half-orc rogue, with a flail, because in Pathfinder, just about any weapon can get sneak attack damage. Crod is over
Sneak
7
attack
feet tall
flail
and
is
speaks
an
in the third
interesting
person whenever he thinks
choice.
someone is watching. Said to the paladin, Crod suggests you look the other way while he's shopping. He wasn't...
Look the other way while I'm shopping. Interesting. Like, not going to outright say I am robbing this place, but say you probably shouldn't look because your oath will probably make you want to stop me. I kind of love this. Already, we're 17 seconds in.
dumb, but people never expect the idiot to be running a crime ring. Crod was a good stealth guy, but he shined in intimidation, plus 13 on level 3. This made for great moments as the game went on. The first time
I guess high strength
I fumbled his stealth roll. I looked at the GM, Crod rears up and screams at the top of his lungs, "You know, see, Crod!"
I mean, that could work.
That was Crod. One of his quotes was, "Only two things, see, Crod. Dead things, and things that know better than to admit it."
I loved that scene in the Batman series. It's like, anything there? Nope, empty. Just like, they know, don't mess with Batman.
Something wrong?
Nope.
At the end of the module, my group is breaking up a local cult, and we get caught in the middle of leadership while trying to steal incriminating documents. So, we fight and against all odds defeat the leadership and then mask Golem. It helped when Crod kneecapped it with a sneak attack with his two-handed flail. Crod's standing over the cult leader and gives his BBEG last words. "I should have known you were unbelievers from the start." Crod always considered self-militant agnostic. Crod not really know what to believe. And he is very frustrated with that. Crunch.
Self-militant? I don't know why my militant always goes to, like, military in my head. So, agnostic, I know. But militant feels like a weird word for it. But I guess it makes sense in context.
Good old Crod. Still, one of my favorite moments is when I had to ad-lib a distraction. The group had infiltrated the earlier mentioned cult and were being processed. Our mage wanted to sneak off to check on some enchantment or another, and I volunteered to keep their attention. GM smirks and says, "Okay, what do you do?" Crod tells an entertaining story to distract the acolytes.
I think this might have been one of these
Tell me a
shorts
story.
in there.
No roll. Tell me the story. Okay. Crod gets them talking about themselves and eventually says, Crod had lots of jobs before coming here. Bouncer, bodyguard, gigolo, city guard. Jim, a gigolo? Yep. Crod was kept man for noble lady. She get off on Crod not being fancy. Crod had to quit though.
It's such a good visual putting in. I think that's the World of Warcraft or Warcraft movie character, and it fits Crod so well.
Why did you quit? Fancy pants suitor get mad at Crod for taking his woman. Challenge Crod to duel.
I'm surprised there's enough stuff to do it.
And she kicked you out? No, noble lady get off on that too. Police get real mad though. But duel's illegal. Yes, but only if you kill man during the duel. You killed him outside of the duel? Well, Fancy Pants tell Crod to choose weapon. Crod choose surprise.
It's a very powerful weapon.
Crod had a lot of fun in a short set of campaigns. At one point, Crod is hanging out with his group as we travel by river. When the GM notes that we are passing another boat, he asked us where we were. I said Crod was in the crow's nest. The boat is too small. There is no crow's nest. He built one. He can't build a crow's nest.
I'm pretty sure he can build whatever he wants.
Crod is carpenter in free time. He enjoy working with hands in a way that doesn't require he put down top first. You have no tools. Crod glares at some spare planks until they know better than not to be crow's nest. I rolled to intimidate the wood. GM. Roll it. Crud now has the craft skill Angry Carpenter.
A solid strategy. So that is, I guess, all of his reacts involving Crod. There were a lot less than I was expecting. But I guess there's just a lot of half-orc and orc rogue ones. I'm seeing the next ones listed as suplexing the dragon. I feel we saw enough of that in the shorts one, so I'm just going to jump ahead to Tucker's Kobalds.
In all the games I've seen, the worst, most horrible, most awful, beyond comparison opponents ever seen were often
So I was interested in these when we
characters
saw.
who fought them. They were
I
simply
think we
well
saw
armed,
this one,
intelligent,
and I'm like,
very
okay, I
clever
need to know
and
more.
utterly
So
ruthless and clever. Tucker's Kobolds were like that. Tucker ran an incredibly dangerous dungeon in the days I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. This dungeon had corridors that changed all of your donkeys into huge flaming demons, or dropped the whole party into acid baths. But
That's
the demons
evil.
were weenies compared to the kobolds on level 1. These kobolds were just regular kobolds, 1 to 4 HP and all that, but they were mean. And when I say they were mean, I mean they were bad, Jim. They graduated magna cum laude from the Sauron Institute of the Criminally Vicious. When I joined the gaming group, some of the PCs had already met Tucker's kobolds.
Also, wait,
and they were
one second. Let me go back a little bit. Come on, a little further. How big? Like, I know this tower is huge. That kobold is gotta be like 20 to 30 feet tall, at least. I would be terrified. It can have 4 HP. I'm not getting close enough to find that out. It's going to be a safe distance away from me at all times.
criminally vicious.
Sorry
When
for the
I joined
interruption,
the
but
gaming group, some of the
like,
PCs
no.
had already met Tucker's kobolds, and they were not eager to repeat the experience. The party leader went over the penciled map of the dungeon and tried to find ways to avoid the little critters, but it was not possible. The group resigned itself to making a run for it through level 1 to get to the elevators, where we could go down to level 10 and fight okay monsters, like huge, flaming demons. It didn't work. The kobolds caught us about 60 feet into the dungeon and locked the door behind us and barred it. Then they set the corridor on fire while we were still in there. No! Screamed the party
Yeah,
leader.
I don't know how you react to them. Especially, but if you're going to go fight the
Thus
fire
encouraged,
demons,
our
you
party
should have fire
scrambled down a
resistance
side
at that
passage, only to
point.
get ambushed by more kobolds, firing with light crossbows through murder holes in the walls and ceilings. Kobolds with metal armor and shields flung Molotov cocktails at us from the other sides of huge, flaming piles of debris, which other kobolds pushed ahead of their formation using long metal poles like broomsticks. There was no mistake about it. These kobolds were bad.
I guess it's how you make a low challenge rating monster
He cried.
way more impressive.
He cried, hands clasped over his face.
Because I don't think we got the murder holes and the Molotov cocktails in the part we watched before. Definitely, like, if you're making them, I guess tactics is the best way of making. Because, like, yeah, you can take out a kobold. There's 100 kobolds, though, so enjoy.
To shut out the tactical situation. We abandoned most of our carried items and donkeys to speed our flight towards the elevators, but we were cut off by kobold snipers who could split move and fire, ducking back behind stones and corners after launching steel-tipped bolts and arrows, javelins, hand axes, and more flaming oil bottles. We ran into unexplored sections of level 1, taking damage all the time. It was then we discovered that these kobolds had honeycombed the first floor with small tunnels to speed their movements. Kobold commandos were everywhere. All of our hirelings died. Most of our henchmen followed. We were next. I recall we had a 12th level magic user
Wait,
with us, and we
12th
asked him
level?
for a spell or something. Blast him, we yelled as we ran. Fireball! Get those little... What, in these now?
Wait. They're throwing, like, flammable oil. Use fireball is probably the worst advice you can give them. It's what the sorcerer wizard was going to do anyways, but it's the worst advice you can give them.
Corridors, he yelled back. You want us to burn us all
I was in the
up
wrong
instead of them?
spot. Sorry
Our
about
cunning
that.
flight suddenly took us to a dead-end corridor where a giant air shaft dropped straight down into unspeakable darkness, far past level 10. Here we hastily pounded spikes into floors and walls, flung ropes up to the edge, and climbed straight down into that unspeakable darkness, because anything we met down there was sure to be better than these kobolds. We
Um,
escaped, met some
and they didn't cut the
huge flaming
ropes.
demons in level 10, and even managed to kill one after about an hour of combat and the lives of half the group. We felt pretty good, but the group leader could not be cheered up.
Understandably, like they lost so much of their power
We still have to go up the way
before even the end of the first
as we
floor.
were really prepared to divide up the treasure. Tucker's kobolds were about the worst thing we could imagine. They ate all our donkeys and took all our treasure and did everything they could to make us miserable, but they had style and brains and tenacity and courage. We
Kobolds
respected
are
them and
awesome,
loved them,
so-
sort of, because they were never boring. Kobolds could do this to a group of PCs from 6th to 12th level. Picture what a few orcs and some lower level NPCs could do to a 12th to 16th level group, or a gang of mid-level NPCs and monsters to groups of up to level 20.
You're losing
Then
the
give it a
action
try.
economy.
Sometimes
It's
it's the
definitely
little things
interesting.
used well that count.
That being said, if you've got like, I guess you wouldn't stop the fire. If you had like adamant plate mail or anything like that on one of your characters, they could tank a lot of the stuff coming from the kobolds, but the fire would not be tankable. So yeah, they got that pretty well set up. Let's head to the next one.
Many years ago, back when we were all still playing D&D, I ran a game where I pitted
It's weird because it's definitely we're watching Zach through the ages, because like we've already, with the 3 videos we've watched, there's 3 different camera setups, it feels like. So it's interesting, and I bet you even in some of the same ones there are different setups throughout, but
2 groups against each other. Several members of Group 1 came up with the idea of luring Group 2 into a trap.
Ooh.
You remember the hand of Vecna and the eye of Vecna that were artifacts in the old D&D world, where if you cut off your hand or your eye and replaced it with the hand of Vecna, you'd get awesome new powers. Well, Group 1 thought up the
I
head
guess you could.
of Vecna. Group 1 spread rumors all over the countryside, even paying bards to spread the word about this artifact rumored to exist nearby. They even went so far as to get a real head and place it under some weak traps to help with the illusion. Unfortunately, they forgot to let all the members of their group in on the secret plan. I suspect it was because they didn't want the druid to get caught and tell the enemy about this trap of theirs, or maybe because they didn't want him messing with things. The druid in Group 1 heard about this new artifact and went off
It's
in
their
search
own
of it
group?
himself,
Oh,
I believe to
no.
help prove himself to the party members. Well, after much trial and tribulation, he found it, deactivated or set off all the traps, and took his prize off into the woods for examination. He discovered that it did not radiate magic, a well-known trait of artifacts, and smiled gleefully. I wasn't really worried since he was alone and I knew that there was no way he could cut his own
This artifact does not artifact. Perfect. I shall use it immediately.
head off. Alas, I was mistaken, as the druid promptly summoned some carnivorous apes and instructed them to use his own scimitar to cut his head off, and of course quickly replacing it with the head of Vecna. It's so dumb.
And like, I'm
Sometime
pretty
later,
sure
Group
your
1 decided to
brain
find
would.
the druid and to check on the trap. They found the headless body, and the 2 heads, and realized that they had erred in their plan. Besides laughing at the character who had played the druid, the head of Vecna still had both eyes. They corrected this mistake and reset the traps and the head for its real intended.
Wait. And they just left the druid there? They really did not like this druid, man.
victims. Group 2. By this time, had heard of the powerful artifact and decided that it bore investigating since, if true, they could use it to destroy Group 1. After much trial and tribulation, they found the resting place of the head of Vecna. They were particularly impressed with the cunning traps surrounding the site. One almost missed his save against the weakest poison known to man. They recovered the head and made off to a safe area. Group 2 actually came to blows. Several rounds of fighting against each other, arguing who would get the head cut off. Several greedy players had to be hurt and restrained before it was decided who would be the recipient of the great powers bestowed by the head. The magician was selected, and one of them promptly cut his head off. As the player was lifting the head of Vecna to place it on its new body, another argument broke out, and they spent several minutes shouting and yelling. Then, finally, they put the head onto the character. Well, of course, the head simply fell off the lifeless body. All members of Group 2 began
I
yelling,
think they just took too
screaming at each
long.
other,
Yeah,
and at me,
it
and
could have been
then,
that.
on their own, decided that they had let too much time pass between cutting off the head of a hopeful recipient and put the head of Vecna onto the body. So they did it again, killing another PC. In closing, it should be said that I never even cracked a smile as this was going on.
That's
After the second
impressive.
PC was slaughtered, I had to give in. My side was hurting. And Group 2 blamed me for all that. So, let that be a warning to you. Don't let your head get cut off unless you really know what you're doing.
But, like, I could see that such an artifact existing, but, like, the druid would have even had the best chance of going like, this isn't really an artifact. It doesn't sound like Group 2 checked it at all. And the first thing they took out would have been the person who would have the best chance of knowing if it's an artifact. So, I can see why they take a few, but, like, did neither of these groups have a way to revive a party member? What if you had put the head on and then revived them? Would it revive the head's original body? Like, or would it revive the body and then the head regrow or something? Like, or would it just error because it's two different bodies? I don't know the specifics of that, but, like, it sounds like none of these groups had a cleric that could solve the problem of, okay, after we cut your head off, we need to get you back alive. An interesting strategy, to be sure, but I'm happy we got to dive more into it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.